Hello. 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 I'm Pat Shimori. And I want to share some stories with you. One is probably one that many of us have heard before, but it definitely bears repeating. And this is a story from the Cherokee Native American tribes here in the States. And the story goes, there's an old man sitting with a young man, and the old man says, "There's a battle going on inside of me." And youngster says, "Yeah? Tell me about that." Is it that there's two wolves, one black wolf and one white wolf. And that evil one is the black wolf. And he is anger, envy, fear, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. And the other wolf that's fighting inside is a white wolf. And she is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence. She is empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. And the young man sat with that for a moment, and he said, "Well, these two wolves are fighting in you. Which one's going to win?" And he says, "The one you feed is the one that wins." And that battle is happening within each and every one of us. And so it's a choice every day to step into that light and to continue to feed that white wolf that's inside of us. And this comes with self-care. It comes with creating a compassionate discipline for yourself. One that nourishes your body physically and with the food. Getting that exercise, maybe making some yoga, taking time for quiet reflection. That can just simply be stilling your devices, shutting off the screens, and just sitting with yourself for a bit. You might take up a formal meditation. You might find yourself being kind to others, checking in on folks. And these are all ways of feeding that light. And right now, our world is really hungry for the light. And so each of us can take a role as being a light bringer in this time. And it really is it's not that difficult. But every time you bring in light and you shine it outward, you're energetically changing the world around you. And you're voting yes for a better life and a better world for all of us. You don't have to know what action it would take to make this whole world a better place. If you just keep going inside and checking in with yourself and feeding that light, you'll know what to do next. And the other story I want to tell you is one that it just sort of came into fruition for me a little while ago, and it comes from back when I was incarcerated. I was taking some English classes with a couple of friends, and I think we were writing poetry. And I started a poem, and I never did quite finish it. But it always stuck with me. And it's more imagery than the content maybe at first. And it simply is that each of us are alone, even though we're together. At the root, it can always feel like we're alone. And imagine yourself at a campsite, and the sun is setting, and you build a fire. And in that fire casts a light across your camp, and it pushes back the darkness, and so that you're held in that light. And maybe to each of us, but for me, there's this feeling, and it's this old gray dog. And she circles that camp right at the edge of the light. She won't enter the light. Not for anything, really. She can't come into the light. But when your campfire burns low, she comes closer. And she comes up right behind you, because when the light gets low, there's a shadow cast along your back. And she comes and she starts whispering into your ear. And I call her she. One is because then I can call her a bitch. And the other part is because she isn't violent and coercive like a male. She's seductive. And she whispers lies about who I am and about what I can be and what my value is. And she's trying to get me away from that light and into the darkness. And so for each of us, the antidote to that is making that fire burn bright. It's not always night, but some nights are longer and darker than others. And when we're in those dark, long nights, we find more ways to make the light shine and shine bright, so that that old gray dog will have no place in our camp. She won't be able to whisper those seductive things to draw us away from our true self. There'll be no place for her. So remember, the shadows and the gray areas are the slipperiest of places. But they can't survive in the light of truth. And so sit with yourself in your camp. Get quiet and make that light burn bright. And you will know more and more of your truth. And the brighter you burn, the more the confusion dissipates. The more the old falls away. And the more you embrace who you've always been. Beautiful, shining, light-bringing source of goodness and divinity. So you watch out for that old gray dog. And when she gets to talking, whether that's stoking old addictions, bringing you away from the present, the rise in anger, all of those things, the self-depreciating talk, the fears, all of it. That's not who you are. You are the light at the center of your camp. And you can step into that light and let it burn bright and cast no shadows. Shine on, my beautiful friends. and always to you. May you walk in peace and with blessings.